Today's Tuesday. It's gonna be a hot one today again. We are going to strip this into long lengths of fiber today. Originally, I was going to just strip them 3 different ways and ply them, but I think what I'm gonna do instead is just do a bunch of strips long ways and then chain ply them. I was a little bit nervous about chain plying, but after watching some videos and thinking about it, it's like, you like chain plying, you think it's fun, it's probably easier. No one said anything about it that you know of to your face, but people acknowledge that it is an issue, but isn't an issue in sock yarn, and should I give it a try? I should give it a try. So that's what I'm gonna do. And yeah, and if I can spin some today, that's great. I'm gonna try to finish Tour de Fleece strong, so. So this is how much I have left to spin, and I wanted to show you one of these balls. You can see the color changes, but what I do is pre-draft, and you see that the color kind of stretches out a little bit, and it's a little bit more gradual. That little piece right there becomes longer. This blue becomes this blue, pretty much. And it's just like something that I picked up in the class that I was taking on spinning intentional color, where you can just have, instead of this abrupt kind of stop to the white, just have it more like flow into the next color and into the next color instead of such an abrupt stop. So I just wanted to share that very quickly with you. Hello and welcome to the Warmness Machine podcast. My name is Lindsay. This is a fiber arts podcast. I'm a crocheter, a knitter, and a spinner. And today's episode is the last episode of Tour de Fleece. My children are here because we are at their grandparents' house today. So let's get started with Eldritch Whale, the Falkland Merino wool that I hope it's okay if my kids are yelling and having fun. I live a real life. So, okay. So first let's get started with the Falkland Merino wool that was called Eldritch Whale. I spun 246.5 yards of it and 182 grams. Now, Something that I've learned from long-term spinning, and let's get into it before I forget right now. I need to keep a card with singles. I also need to sample more with different, it says in different ways, but like just do more sampling with different needles and do more sampling in general with like spinning and then knitting and seeing if I got what I wanted. That's what I've learned from long-term projects. Also adding a date to these little tags so that I know when I spun them, it would be helpful to me. Writing down how many plies on this. How many plies do I have? 1, 2, 3. And also being more specific, saying how I spun the yarn on the tag and in my notes. Now, of course, it's in my little notebook, but so what if one day I lose my notebook and all I have left are tags? You got to do double duty. So, and I also think that I spun an extra skein of this, but I wouldn't know because I don't have dates on the yarn. So that too. So this is that. I love it. Okay. For the combination combination spin, I have all these beautiful, oh my goodness, these are just too pretty. I spun 367.5 yards, 223 grams, and again, this is worsted weight between 9 to 12 wraps per inch. I'm saying 9 to 12 wraps per inch because some are 12 wraps per inch and some are 9. But the average is really between a 10 and 11. So there we have that. The next was the bat from Fossil Fibers. No idea what was in it except silk. And I spun 1 long draw. I'm gonna insert a clip for you to see how bad it was. Sheesh. It was bad. It was bad. So I had a hard time with long draw, to say the least. I had a hard time. So this is my little long draw thing that I did. I just made this into a little faux lag, stripped a piece off, made it into a little faux lag and did my thing. This is worsted weight. This was so much fun to spin. I don't even think you're getting the colors and everything. It's so pretty. Probably because there's a cloud that way. So yeah. So for this, I spun 86.5 yards, 58 grams, and again, it was a worsted weight yarn. Very, very lovely. Love it very much. Super soft, super cozy. No idea what to make with this, but we will find out. Lastly, we have the self-striping yarn. Now this was on my sock study, and I will talk more about that in the next episode. But in this, I spun a little bit too thick. I was really concerned that if I spun too thin, that the yarn would break at some point and then my socks would unravel. Because I was chain plying, I was just like, oh no, they got on the drums. They're still playing on the drums. It's always fun for children to go to their grandparents' house, right? I remember my grandparents' house was just a lot of fun. Not a lot of toys there, but just a lot of stuff to get into. And I love getting into stuff. So we might... Do you have children? If you do you find yourself interrupted? Of course you do. I spun this a little thick, if I'm going to be honest. It's still a fingering weight, but it's probably a little bit on the heavier fingering weight side. This is one little section where I took the pieces apart and then took all the colors out of it instead of stripping it. So what you do, so how about I start here? What do you do? How do you get a self-striping yarn, Lindsay? Great question. You take your fiber and you open it up long ways and you just strip it down so that they're different strips, but they go the length of the fiber. And then you spin it from the same end to the same end. So if you start with orange and you end with gray, which is what happened to me, I started with orange every time and I ended with gray every time. And then I'd start with orange, end with gray, start with orange, end with gray. And then as it goes through, you get these color stripes. Then you only do that on one single. Then you chain ply. Chain plying is when you take a loop and you take a piece of yarn through the loop and then you have 3 strands of yarn and then you twist that down, pull through another loop and twist that down, and it is definitely a dance of dragons. I just wanted to add that because I don't watch that show at all. I don't know anything about that. I mean, I did try to read the book, but for me it was just I don't want to say it was in poor taste, but it was, you know, I was pearl clutching. So, and I was like, I can't do incest. I can't do, you know, grapes. I can't do anything like that. I can't do, not for reading pleasure. No. So yeah, chain plying. I have chain plied before. I'm going to show you what that was like after I show you this. So this is my chain plied sock yarn. This sock yarn is not as... Oh, what? I have chain plied before. I'm going to show you some yarn that's not chain plied, which is this. I made this bag out of this yarn with some just leftover whatever. And then this is the chain ply. So you can see that the colors, it's still pink, but then it goes to light. There's a really good example I have actually on the bag because I used this little, whatever was left over, I chain plied. And it is in the handle. So you see the purple, and then you have this little buttonhole, and then it goes to from the lights to the pink. And that's what chain plying does. It kind of makes a little gradient so that the colors can have a smooth transition to each other. So yeah, that's all that I made except for these two. I didn't show you these two. So these are what were left over on the bobbin from the Eldritch Whale and the combo spin, and I just put them together. I love it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these, but I like it. So that's my episode for today, come rain or shine. Wow, spun a lot. Let me show you all that I spun. Not that, because that was spun a million years ago. All of this, and possibly one more skein by accident that I didn't remember. But I spun all this. I'm really impressed with myself. I'm really excited that I did this. I'm really excited that I decided to use the class that I took, Spinning Intentional Color, to try and figure this out. There's still so much more that I need to learn, and I'm so excited to do it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, Happy making and